Today we're going to be looking at how to create powerful, effective searches in BuildTrack 50. We'll look at how to put together good search terms and also how to filter the bills that are returned to make sure that you're just getting the bills you want. So to start, let's create a new bill sheet. So I click on my bill sheets list here. I can go view all and then coming over here, new sheet to actually create a new sheet. And let's call this one marijuana. Okay, so we'll make a sheet to do with marijuana legislation. Here we are. Soon as you create your sheet, you're taken to the query tab. And obviously you have a lot of options here. So let's go through them one by one. First of all, you choose the states that you're interested in. With 52 items, that's the 50 states, plus the United States for federal bills, and also Washington, D.C. there. So let's leave all 52 for now. We can obviously filter down later if we end up with a lot of bills. Then you choose your search conditions. There are 4 different types of search conditions, and you can have multiple all of, any of, and near, which allows you then to create very powerful searches by combining them together. So let's look at an example. Let's start with an any of. So this means that any of the words or phrases that we put in here, one of them must be contained within a bill for it to be returned as a search result. So let's put in our standard marijuana searches here. So you'll see we've got marijuana spelled with a J, marijuana spelled with an H, and also cannabis. So now it will return any bills that have one of those words within it. We'd expect that to be quite a lot. So let's just have a look. If we click save, you always need to click save at the bottom of the screen. Otherwise you'll lose everything you've done. It'll take a while as it goes and searches for the bills. And then we will see, here we are, you've got 3,506 bills returned. So that's a lot of bills, obviously far too many. You can't really go through 3,500 bills. So let's refine our query a little bit by going back to the query tab here. Right, so there's our one search. Let's add another any of search, see if we can narrow down our search a little bit. And let's add in some other common marijuana phrases here. So I've added that it must also contain license, registration, or dispense. And you'll see here I'm using our wildcard. So this means that it will find, it will look for words dispense, dispenses, dispensed, dispensary, anything that begins with those letters. I could also add one onto the end of license here to find licenses if I wanted to. So what it's doing now is it's looking for a bill that contains one of those words, but that also contains one of these words. So that should narrow it down. Let's see what we end up with. I click save again and send it off to search. And this is how you refine your search, by very iteratively, by adding more and more things and trying to narrow the number down. So you'll see here we're down to 2,266 bills. So definitely an improvement. So let's go back to our query and see what more we can do. So let's add in this time a near search. So it's also going to be looking for words that are close to one another within the bill, but not necessarily next to one another. Generally words that appear within about a sentence. So let's add in marijuana expungement. So this could find obviously the phrase marijuana expungement, but also if those words are used within a sentence. Now, of course, marijuana can be spelled 2 ways. So let's also look for marijuana expungement spelled the other way. Okay, and you'll see this time it's an or. So it's saying it must contain either these words or these words that are near to one another. Okay, so let's see what this gets us down to, because that's a slightly tighter phrase. Yes, you see it's limited our bills now down to just 38 bills. So that's pretty good. In fact, it might be a bit too narrow a search there. I'd be a little bit worried if you only find 38 bills that are to do with marijuana. But let's go back to our query now and have a look at some of the other options. So that's our main search here, but we can also filter by all of these things here. So first of all, we can look at the bill type. So are we just interested in bills, or do we also want to see resolutions that tend to just be making an advisory statement of some kind but don't actually have legal force? So perhaps we're not interested in those. Memorials tend to be just memorializing an individual or naming a bridge or something. So let's not have those either. Other tends to be things like constitutional amendments and so on. So we may well want some of those. So let's leave that in. You can also look at the progress that the bill has made. So perhaps you're only interested in bills that have been signed or enacted. Perhaps you're not interested in bills that have been vetoed or bills that are dead. And you can also look at the stage they're at. So you might not be interested in bills that have only just been introduced. You might be looking only for bills that have crossed over and are therefore making some progress. So by unchecking these boxes, again, you can narrow down your search. But let's just leave them all checked for the moment. You can also filter by session. So by default, it's the current session. So this is whatever year you're in. But you can also click here and choose session years. So you'll see we go all the way back to 2011 up to the next year, and you can slide this around to choose exactly the period of time that you're interested in. So this can often be very useful if you're conducting research to look at past bills in past years that were successful, so you can see whether current bills will also be successful. But let's leave this at the current session for now. And you can also filter by committee. So most bills will be sent to a committee of some kind, and they'll often be sent to multiple committees as they make their way through the process. So we've assigned all the committees to 11 broad categories here, and you can check these boxes to say, I only want bills that have been through this type of committee. So for our marijuana search, maybe we're interested in medical marijuana, and we're not interested in the more commercial aspects of selling marijuana, in which case we could say, well, let's filter this to only bills that have been to the Health and Social Services Committee. And then let's save that again and see how that changes our search. And you'll see now we're down to just 10 bills. So only these 10 bills match our search and have been to some kind of health committee. Note HF 100 here from Minnesota, this Cannabis Finance and Policy Bill. And let's go back to the Query tab. And this time, let's say we're interested in bills that are to do with the commercial aspects, in which case we'd uncheck that one and go to Business and Industry, and then click Save again. This time, you'll see we only have 4 bills, but HF 100, there it is again. So this means that this bill, which as you'd expect for a bill that's about finance and policy, has been to a number of different committees, both health committees and business committees. If we take a quick look at the bill, by clicking on the bill number here, and then we can click the Committees tab to see where it's been. You'll see that it's been to a lot of different committees here, including business ones like this Labour and Industry Finance Committee here, and then this Health Finance and Policy Committee here, which is the Health Committee. Okay, let's just go back to our bill sheet, have a quick look at the other query options. So down the bottom here, you've got a sponsored by. So here you can just type in the name of a sponsor, and it will pull up all the sponsors. Here we are, we've got lots of different sponsors here, and you can click one of those names and you will then only see the bills that have been sponsored by that particular legislator. But let's leave that blank for the time being. Or you can just type in your bills. So if we wanted that Minnesota bill, for example, we could type in MN and then maybe HF or whatever, and you would get the bills. Here are some Minnesota bills, HF 100. There it is. And I could click that and it would add it manually onto my bill sheet. And just a final reminder, make sure you always click Save, and then you can come here and start filtering and looking at the bills in more detail. Thank you very much.